ancient voice, whispering from the void, and it chills my lightless heart.
G'day guys, Duckville here. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a replay that I've received in a replay pack. As you can see here, we have one famous name at least, and perhaps an up-and-coming name. This is from a replay pack that was posted on Team Liquid just shortly ago. I think it was a few weeks ago. From this player here, Red Protoss down in the 5 o'clock position on Shakuras. This is cLechuchee, who is from clan Clutch, so he's that's what the CL's for at the front. So his name's echuchee, and he's a very good player up there in the Masters League as a Protoss, doing quite well. And as we saw just before, his opponent here today on Shakuras up in the other corner, the direct opposite corner, will be EGiNcontroL of EG fame from Evil Geniuses, a great Protoss player on that team there. Hopefully he may be heading over to Korea at some point to give the guys over there a bit of a go, or perhaps he'll just stay over in the US scene and stick around there. But either way, this should be a pretty cool game, and normally a lot of you guys may know I'm not a huge fan of PvP. It's probably one of the most boring matchups in my opinion, because it's either lol warp gate or, you know, proxy gates or cannon crap like that. Beautiful little micro there by incontrol, getting in the way of that probe, stop the gateway from getting down. But anyway, back to my ranting about PvP. So yeah, it's normally, you know, 4 gates, proxy crap, cannons, all that sort of junk, and then Colossus, and that's about it. But with these two guys being the very good players that they are, I'm expecting to see something exciting out of all of them. It is a little bit of a longer game. It's not the longest I've cast, of course, but it is still a decently long game. So we've got incontrol just coming in here, seeing what's happening inside echuchee's base. He's just running this probe around. echuchee's sticking on the probe to make sure that he doesn't actually put up a pylon or anything, but it looks as if he's going to switch that around now. Going to try and get in the way again is incontrol, but echuchee backs off. His own probe, meanwhile, is just scouting around, just goes to the wrong horizontal spot firstly, and then we'll be going up here to the correct spot. And if we have a quick look at what incontrol's up to, nothing fancy out of him. Grabbing that second gas there, so he's not going to be doing anything early with zealots or anything like that. So he is going to be just doing a standard sort of opening here. As you can see, they are basically on the same sorts of timings. The second gas there from echuchee a little bit later, but I wouldn't really think that's going to cause too much of a difference in what incontrol is planning to do. As we said, it was just a tiny bit later, but there's the cybernetics, the warp gate tech going straight up there for echuchee. His second gas is now done. He's going to chuck some probes in there. As we can see on the groovy little current harvesters counter on the assimilator, we can see where he gets the 3 straight in there and gets that rolling. Meanwhile, back here at incontrol's base, echuchee has indeed scouted out that incontrol has gone for the 2 gates. He's actually chronoing out the first stalker and the warp gate tech himself, so he's going to try and keep up with that. A 3rd gate goes down, which is interesting to see, and as you can see, both of these players doing a brilliant job of timing the retreat of their probes. echuchee getting his out just as the stalker comes out from incontrol, and as we can see here, incontrol's probe actually got out himself, but they are going to have a little bit of a probe battle here. This is going to be interesting. This may set the tables for the rest of the match, but we'll see what happens. Looks as if they're not too worried about it, but looks as if EGiNcontroL is going to come across with a stalker, and he's probably going to pick that one off, and indeed he does. Meanwhile, another stalker here from echuchee comes along and has a little face-off there, but doesn't actually do too much. Now, bit of a deviation here. We actually have the robo facility going straight up there for echuchee. He's got his second gate and a 3rd on the way. However, this is obviously where he's going to differ just a little bit. Now, cleverly scouting out just this area around his base, just to make sure there are no hidden pylons or anything like that, which can cause an amazing amount of headaches in PvP. So, nice little job there. Now, as you can see, it looks as if incontrol is going to do the same sort of thing himself, just making sure there's nothing down here, no sorts of fancy pylon placements at all for reinforcing any attacks on his own base. Now, as we can see, incontrol's got his 3 warp gates up. They have produced a few units, and it looks as if a Stargate is on the way from him. So that's his difference there. He is indeed going to go for a Phoenix as well, so we may see either just a Phoenix to scout around and see what's happening, or perhaps it will actually be some sort of Phoenix play, which is not the most popular thing, but it is very powerful to see in a PvP, especially if it gets to that stage where your opponent's just sort of rolling around with like a few colossi. You can actually pick them off nicely if you've got a bit of micro in your fingers. So we'll see if that happens. But meanwhile, we've got some scaling going around here. It looks as if incontrol is actually shooting the rocks at the back of his base. No, that is not rocks from echuchee. They are just those normal ones back in there at the back. So I would suspect that we are actually going to see incontrol actually expand out to the reverse smiley face base here, which is actually a really cool base to take, because you are then decently protected against most forms of harass for the most part. But as we can see, incontrol is going to have some really good map vision, given the fact that he's now got 3 Phoenix just flying around the map. He's probably going to scout around, see what's happening, and see if he can cause any mischief with these, because you pick a probe up with these and bam, it will go down like no tomorrow. So we do see echuchee's going to grab a forge. I'm not sure if that was a preemptive forge for those Phoenix. I suppose it would be, but if we have a quick look here, he does notice that the Stargate is indeed pumping away, warping in those additional Phoenix, which are probably going to come through, maybe another one as well. But as we can see, it looks as if they're going to be floating through. As they do, they're probably going to take a few shots at some probes perhaps, but no, echuchee actually wards that away with a few stalkers. That's all you really need for the most part. And as we can see here, grabbing just a couple of cannons to make sure that he's got some defense there at the probe line, just to stop that Phoenix harass for the time being. Of course, when there are a lot more Phoenix, it can become a bit of a problem to try and fend off these types of attacks. But just for the moment, that we don't expect there'll be too much more, I would suspect. But yeah, we've got a Void Ray on the way from incontrol, so he's going to switch it up, grab some Void Rays, perhaps just to supplement his main army force, or perhaps just to actually get mass Void Rays, which does become a bit of a popular thing sometimes. We do see in PvP that's happening a little bit on Korean servers. On the Korean server, is that starting to mix in a lot of Void Rays if you get to that middle sort of game in a PvP, where it sort of normally would be Gateway and Colossus sort of units, or I suppose it's normally Stalker and Colossus for the most part. But starting to see some Void Rays coming out in some of the builds from the Korean servers, so that's actually something we may see from incontrol. It sort of depends how long this match is going to go for, but as we can see here, a Void Ray, a few Gateway units, and some Phoenix are going to be the major defense force for the moment. As we can see, echuchee's got a couple of Colossi, some Stalkers as Zealots, and just one Sentry for the moment. So we'll see what he can do with that. He may try and put some pressure on. It looks as if echuchee might run into these forces here, taking some shots at the running in there incontrol. So he was running into echuchee's forces. echuchee a little bit late on the attack there, actually just took a few hits on that Colossus there, lost most of its shields. They obviously will regenerate pretty quickly, so he's going to be able to get that back in time, no doubt. And as we can see, both of these guys actually have their naturals up. incontrol's has been up for just a little bit longer, and as we have a look on the income tab, that definitely shows in the fact that incontrol is currently sitting at 1,000 mineral income, over 200 gas. And echuchee's only just starting to get his up to that range now. As you can see, we're going to have a little bit of a battle here. A Stalker gets picked off. The Phoenix is finally starting to use a little bit of their energy. There are 3 Void Rays in the back of this force, but it looks as if he's not going to push in too hard, because of course, if these Colossi sort of sit just behind all the Stalkers will be able to pick up the Phoenix, but or not pick up, of course, but pick off the Phoenix, I suppose is a better term. I'll keep my dictionary handy so I make sure I get that right next time. But so I think that's probably why incontrol is backed off there. He knows that it's a little bit of a dangerous engagement to go in there for the time being. But we see echuchee's chucked down a cannon here at the natural mineral line. He's got his assimilators just about up and running. And as we can see down here, picks up some exposed probes and does get a few kills there. These Phoenix doing a great job. We got 2 kills on this one, and the others, some of these others have a few kills as well. As you can see, I think it's about a total of 5 probes that did go down. But we can see that it's going to be a little bit harder to get into some of these other places, but he gives it a go anyway. Picks up 1 probe. 1 probe goes down for the loss of 1 Phoenix. and it seems as if he's going to try and have another little go, but he's not going to be able to get in there too far, of course, because there are a lot of stalkers now, and the stalkers will be able to just chew through those Phoenix if they get too close. But we have a look at the production. We've got +1 air weapons on the way for InControl, and as you can see here, we've got +1 ground for echuchee. So we'll see if these. This is going to be probably a battle of the sky toss versus the normal standard ground toss. But some more Phoenix harass coming in here. These guys picking off some more probes there, taking all the ones off the gas. This is a very important part of what InControl has been doing, is actually picking up the probes that were on the gas. He didn't go directly for just any random probes, just picked up the 3 that were here and then took off. So that was a really nice little move there, because if you're not careful with what you're doing while you're playing, you may actually forget that your gas probes have been eliminated, and of course you'll start falling behind in gas. So maybe just what InControl's trying to do there, just to try and offset his opponent just a little bit. And as we can see, he picks up this one unfortunate lonely probe there at the 3rd expansion. Also scouts, of course, that the 3rd expansion is up, as we can see. And it will be up shortly. Meanwhile, just up here at the reverse smiley face, InControl has got his 3rd just pumping now. He's going to looks like he's transferring over some probes, and indeed he is. So he's going to have his 3rd up and running soon. echuchee, for the moment, does not know that that one is there. As you can see there, it does not know. Just still an upside down smiley face for him, as opposed to this one down here, which is the right side smiley face. But either way, if we just have a quick look at what InControl's up to at the moment, as we said, it was looking like it was going to go into a bit of a sky toss with using some Void Rays and the Phoenix, of course, and it certainly does seem to look like actually it's generally a decent mix. He's got some Immortals to handle the Stalkers, he's got Void Rays, of course, to deal with the Colossus when they come along, and of course a couple more ground units just to provide some supplemental forces there. But we'll see if he can deal with what echuchee's up to, which is 3 Colossi and a whole boatload of Stalkers. These guys actually did come in on a boat. They didn't get warped in, but we'll see if they can actually provide some defense against these Phoenix, which initially will be the problem for echuchee to deal with. But if he can hold those off and then get on target with the Void Rays, he may be able to actually stop this impending sky attack coming in from InControl. But he's nicely picking off some of these Phoenix, or attempting to pick some of them off. Meanwhile, if we have a quick look at what is going on over in InControl's base, he does have 2 Stargates starting to pump out the Void Rays, and as we see here, a fleet beacon is on the way. So we're going to have possibly a mothership. I don't think it'll be carriers. Carriers aren't. It's a little bit of a tough decision on carriers on this map, because whilst there are these really nice cliff positions and this sort of thing which you can hide your forces off, there are some really good counters to carriers now in the form of the blink stalkers if you're very quick with your blink and you have nice position, and of course the fact that out in the open the carriers will probably get chewed up by stalkers in general anyway. But the fact that there are a lot of these edge parts on the main bases will be something that InControl may look at if he goes for carriers. But as I said, I'm not really sure if he's going to do it. It looks as if he's getting +2 air weapons. There it is. A mothership is on the way. So we are going to see a mothership Void Ray with a whole bunch of Immortals supporting as well. Some sort of attack at some point will probably be just as the mothership finishes, I suspect. Meanwhile, just down here, we will see that a probe is coming up from echuchee. We'll see if he actually gets inside to that natural and spots that the mothership is building. I'm not sure if that's going to happen though, but in the meantime, he's just getting his 3rd base all fully running now, and the 4th is going to be on the way shortly too. But it looks as if InControl has now spotted this one. We may see InControl come across to the side and bust down those rocks, but I'm going to be surprised if he does. But we'll see what happens. It looks as if some Phoenix have picked off some of these warping in stalkers, and they did get one of them. There were 3 there, but it's down to 2. Meanwhile, InControl has his 4th Nexus now up and fully running. We've got some stalkers here. We do not have blink yet. That's one key thing for the moment, is that blink is not done. However, Psystorm is done, and the Kadaran amulet is also on the way. So we're going to see a little bit of a switch, or not sure if it's just a mix or if it's an actual switch to Templar, and the Templar will be able to hold off some air forces. If we see this massive concentration of Void Rays just sitting in the same spot, Storms will absolutely tear them apart, because it does just rip through those sorts of units. And as we can see, +1 weapons on the way, +2 weapons, sorry, on the way for incontrol's Immortals and his other ground forces. Meanwhile, his Void Rays now have +2 to attack, and we'll see if he can pull something out of the bag here, because it would be really cool if something like this actually took place. And perhaps if some guys out there, I don't know if any of you guys watching will be Protoss players, but perhaps you can give this sort of style a go. It does look like a little bit of fun compared to the normal, but we'll see what happens. We've got some cannons going up here just to defend this mineral line, of course, at this 4th base, because this is going to be one. This is getting to this point for both of these players where you're getting to this point on 4 to 5 bases where you are actually going to have a lot of trouble defending harass. So echuchee's wisely putting up some cannons. He's got 4 at this one, which are going to provide some defense, and 4 over here at this one as well. But if we move over to the middle of the map, we have the mothership coming through, the EGiNcontroL mothership. I'm not sure if his mum's actually piloting this one, but it will be quite interesting to see what happens here. We have a grand total of 10 Immortals sitting under this force, along with, how many is that? That's a whole bunch of Void Rays. That is a total of 14 Void Rays, and they are destroying these rocks here. Not happy that these rocks were in the way, and it looks as if he's going to try and actually just bypass the main army of echuchee, because he's sort of sitting out here. He's in a decent position to defend the main and the natural, and will be able to get across to the 3rd and the 4th as well. But incontrol is up to 110 energy, so he's going to have enough for the vortex, and if he positions it right, he will be able to vortex these whole bunch of forces, and indeed he does. Storm going down all over the place from echuchee. He actually gets that off right before incontrol actually gets to destroy much of his base. Storm's going down again, absolutely tearing these units apart. As you can see, these Void Rays are all just about dead. That is the power of Storm against something like this, with the Void Rays just getting chewed apart. There we go, a couple more Storms. Goodbye Void Rays, and essentially the only things left are these Immortals and Stalkers, which have now been ripped apart there by the mass Stalker army of echuchee. And that was a beautiful attack there by incontrol, coming up the ramp and actually just vortexing right on the ramp to stop echuchee from coming up. But of course, the fact that the Void Rays just move in this this efficient, they're like geese, they just move in this efficient formation and clump together. And then of course, as we mentioned before, Storms will just eat up the Void Rays when they do get into that sort of formation. But it looks as if echuchee is now on a bit of a winning march here. As we can see, he's currently sitting at 200 supply. He's maxed out. He's going in for the kill. No time for the Artosis rule here of if you're ahead, get more ahead, because there are essentially only a couple more bases left to get ahead with. But it looks as if he's just going to walk in here. This is just going to be a steamroll of this side. The only battle actually occurring between these two is just this one over here, actually, and a Storm beautifully placed there by echuchee, going down on these Zealots and Stalkers as some more reinforcements coming in here. So it looks as if echuchee will be fine to fend off this attack. And as we can see here at the main, the Void Rays is getting picked off as they pull out of the Stargate, so not having a good day, those guys certainly aren't. And of course we can see the Colossi standing off, doing a lot of damage. So this was a great little game to watch from these two players. A great little macro game there, with both of these guys getting to 4, even 5 bases, and just showing us some interesting strats there. We got the Colossi and Templar mix there from echuchee, and we did see the Mothership Void Ray from incontrol. So in fact, we even got DTs coming across here now. So this is obviously not going to be the some sort of saving grace for incontrol, but certainly love that he's giving it a go. So losing his main base now, there we go. You even get the confirmation there from EGiNcontroL. The Storm rapes that build, or he didn't say build, but you know that's what he meant. And the GG, well played from incontrol. So fun little game there from these guys, doing a great little macro job there for both of them essentially. And just unfortunately for incontrol, his units were not powerful enough to fend off the Storm of echuchee. So echuchee, as we said, this came from a replay pack, so I'm going to pick up a couple more of the games and put them through once I have some spare time. So look out for a couple more of these coming up on the channel shortly. If you want the replay pack, I believe I've put it in the description for this for this video, so you can grab it in there and have a look yourself if you wanted to. And if you want to see some more replays of echuchee, or if you want to see a bit more of the North American server replays, this sort of thing, instead of the Korean ones, which I've normally been doing, let me know, and I'll grab some more of those. But otherwise, we'll sort of stick with just some of these more fun ones from time to time, but generally sticking with some of the Korean server replays. So, hope you guys enjoyed that one. Leave some comments and feedback, whatever. Make sure you subscribe. Cheers.